So tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah. Chris Wise, I own a handful of things. I own a law firm with offices in Cincinnati, Nashville, Louisville, opening one in Chicago here pretty soon. Own a AI firm. Really, it's a marketing dash advertising agency. We have two different divisions in that, a public and a private sector, so different avenues there. And then I own a property management company, which we implement our AI. We buy anywhere north of 50 to 100 units at a time, uh, apartments, C class, and we convert them to B and focus on kind of community driven values in order to make that conversion along with, of course, renovation and that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. To me, I work with an organization called Invisio. Can you hear in the background? Because I have the fans
No.
on. Okay, okay. This is the
Mhm.
fans kind of loud. So,
Mhm.
anyways, I I currently work with an organization called Invisio where they pretty much they they help people find their true passion and purpose, go through challenges for in a breeze, and what to cope in their journey. So, in my profession, I am a business system analyst where I research, analyze, and compare compare two things. So, good example of that is I researched I had to compare two plugins for a WordPress website, and I had to see which plugin is going to be the right one to use. So my boss wanted me to compare LMS plugins. So the two plugins that she was very interested in is Master Study and Tutor LMS. And and I analyzed both of them, and I saw some difference. I saw that Master Study was it was it was cheaper, but it it was user friendly. Where Tutor LMS had like more features to it. So I decided that I chose Tutor LMS because of those features. Of course, the downfall is that it's expensive. So, but I showed the results to my boss, and she she sometimes might have want me to go back and do more research. But then once we found the answer, then we just chose that. So during that, I definitely learned very valuable skills, learn how to do web development and to research and just really be just that professional. And I think that really brought me some pretty valuable stuff to it. Just it was good spirits. So
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I think especially in today's environment, there's so many different tools, there's so many different options, there's new tools being developed every minute, it feels like. And being able to compare and be able to figure out what you actually need, and what problem are you actually trying to solve is
right,
probably, that's the biggest question. Because I mean, I know personally, with my businesses and those that work for me in it. I mean, we look to solve a specific solution, and
mm,
that solution, and it can be daunting to take on some of the new tools just because they do, 100,000 things, and you're just like, okay, well, that just became overwhelming, and now I don't even know what we were trying to solve in the first place. We're just now we just have a tool that does a million things, and how do you even use it? So
right.
yeah, being able to analyze that and figure out, what problem you're trying to solve and actually finding that solution that solves that specific problem.
Mhm.
That's probably one of the best roles that you can have in any kind of company. That's the fun stuff. That's the exciting stuff that gets you up. All the
Right.
other sleep.
Yeah, it's people do have preference. They have preference of what they like to do to work with a company. If you know, if for example, since I'm doing is the researcher, just really the guy that goes out and looks for things and just leads the team to the destination. I think that's pretty fun to me. But some people might not like that. So that someone could, I don't know, someone could just be doing calling people, do customer service. Some people like that, and some people don't. So
Yeah. No, I think it's tough. I think finding that role that makes the most sense for you because it's going to develop over time.
right,
So I don't think there's a specific role and that's just the role that you're in forever and because you love that role. I think over time it develops and there's more value even with experience and time. You just get more
right,
value and then you're able to grow from there. So I know that's almost how everything has started with me is I hate this particular avenue, whatever that is. I want to fix it, change it. How do I do that? Start doing it, start actually focusing on fixing that problem. And then that grows into something else. And then, it just
right.
keeps going. And that's the fun part. That's the part that we all, it's a reason why we all get up.
Yeah.
So tell me,
So,
how long have you been? Oh, go for it.
oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, how long have you been you said you're in Washington State, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How long were you born and raised there? Or?
Well, I I've been pretty much living in Washington State for my entire life. I it was definitely something. I I pretty much am born in a not really a rich or poor family, but just the middle class. Just just a family that is living an average life. So yeah, I I was born in I was born in Monroe, and I pretty much I lived mostly in farms back when I was young. So that was pretty much the life back then with with my family. But what's
Mhm.
interesting is when I was born, my dad I was talking to my dad on into the when we were driving down in the car into a trip, and when I was born, he he said that I was the first person to look at him, and you know that babies would just like cry if it's ever they look at a person the
Oh
first
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So what's interesting is for me is I would look at my dad and I would start to laugh and I wouldn't even cry. But the rest of my brothers and sisters would cry when they were born. I
well,
don't
that's an
know if I
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is kind of pretty incredible it because now because now I think about it, it's like maybe I am very special, you know?
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I got it seems that I've something pretty incredible. The God or universe chose me or something.
Yeah. No,
So,
I think it's extremely special, man. I've got little kids of my own, and uh, that kind of stuff that never goes away. That feeling, even you can see it on your face, even talking about it, right? Like that's something to be proud of, and also, I
uh,
mean, connections that you never want to lose, and that is no one can take that feeling away. That one's special, and so I know I remember both my kids. I have a 6-year-old son and a 3-year-old daughter. I mean, I remember both of them, gosh, just being so tiny, and then just oof, yeah. There's a lot of things that are real special, and those connections, those bonds, uh, and all the fun stuff in between. It's
right,
I feel like the first 7 years is by far the most fun because everything's so new.
right,
Everything is fresh and fun, and even things that we take for granted so much, uh, to them is like, oh, that's the coolest thing ever. We have a trampoline, and our kids love playing on that thing. And I honestly I could not tell you the last time I was on a trampoline in my life. Like maybe 5 years old, something like just crazy out there. And
right.
got on a trampoline with them a couple days ago just to goof off, and just that feeling, man, that's like real joy, and that's
Right.
stuff people, man, that's
Yeah,
the
yeah. A lot of kids are just always on the phones, or people just call them the iPad kids. They're just,
yeah.
it's kind of sad because their parents are not taking their kids to outside, and I don't know, maybe there is some kids going outside, but it just for going to reality that's just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, what I've found is that as technology has gotten greater, and we've had more capabilities than we ever have, it's what makes us kind of live in a special time right now.
Mhm.
um, yeah, I think that you have, well, it's never going away, right? So like our kids, for example, my kids, I have, they have iPads, they play with their iPads, whatever. It's taking the time to be cognizant and do something other than that, go to the zoo or go outside and play, go play football
Right,
or soccer, whatever. Um, Go to the science center, make an effort to do something other than be in a screen.
right,
But our world is run from screens, it really is. And I think that gets overlooked quite a bit because, I mean, they're going to grow up, and I'm going to be like my grandfather, not knowing how the heck to work this thing. And they're going to know, 10,000 times what I do in technology. And, it's having that capability, even the problem solving. I mean, I think one of the best things that could happen is teaching kids just in general how to code and making it fun, whether it's kind of the snake game and learning how to code that to play the snake,
right.
game out. I think it's called the snake game, but
Mhm.
simple things like that, and having the joy from them creating stuff. Because I mean, every one of my son's friends, and or maybe not every, but close to it, and him, I mean, they all want to be gamers, right? And then they get excited because they realize that they can build that or whatever. And there's a lot to come from it. I don't think we're ever going to live in a time where we absolutely shun it, and try to force people to stay away from it. But also, I think it's too easy to blame technology for lack of, socialization, when it's like, you'd still put it down and go do something, And so
Right,
I think the easy the easy answer, and I think that's a more complicated question than
right,
you know I'm not sure it's a problem that actually has to be fixed.
right. Yeah, it's very strange these days, but when I was growing up, I literally grew up with CDs and VHS. That to me was the best. I was watching like Disney VHS tapes on a VHS player on a CRTV. Those those big bulky TVs.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it was pretty it was fun times. And
yeah,
what's another one? I I also would hmm, yeah, there's so many things I've done back in my day, and there's just no phones, just none of that stuff. Maybe there was like gaming consoles, and I would play I I would play the retro Xbox. So
yeah,
that's the console I would play back then. So I wish that back then I could have my parents would have brought me the Nintendo consoles because of Super Mario.
yeah.
So
I was about to say, how old are you?
21?
21? Yeah. Oh yeah, man. No, I'll tell you that is um that's fun that you did that, growing up. I know a similar boat, we had VHS and eventually DVD and all that good stuff. But I mean, even nowadays, it's not like the DVDs exist. It's just I don't know who gets them with all the subscription stuff we got going on right now.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, I used to have to walk and literally stop the little tape and rewind it to re-listen to the music in the headset and all of that. There's no, it's not what it was now. I mean, I don't, geez, I don't remember the year that the first what do they call them? Not iPad, little iTunes thing, iDevice, Nano. I forgot what they call them now. That shows you how much technology's expanded since then. I can't remember the name, but yeah, I mean that was insane. To
Right.
think that you could have 1,000 songs in your pocket or whatever it was, and yeah, everything was rewound. VHS. We're kind of going into a like a cyclical type state though, because I mean, right now I've seen a lot of data on people returning to vinyl, right? And so like, I mean, that's kind of cool. And I've even considered getting one just for the fun of it and the crispness of the sound, music, and all that. But I mean, we've done a lot to get away from it. It's bulky. Where do you put it, and how often do you actually use it, and all that good stuff. And then here we are. Those sales have actually gone up pretty quite a bit actually. So that's interesting to me. That always kind of gets my attention on. All right, well, what's next? Are we going to go back to tapes just because we like the uh, the homage back to 80s?
Right. Yeah, it's I've I've recently heard that the music, the modern music is turning back to turning back to the 80s. So I've heard that rap music is supposed they say the rap music is sounding like the 80s. It's not just modern rap music, but just sounding like 80s. I don't know, it's interesting, but
Yeah,
it kind of it's like rewinding back to the those times. But
give it time. Fanny packs are back. Uh, Soon it'll be, crazy hair and I mean, just give it time. It all circles back. The parachute pants are next if they haven't already returned. Just give it time.
hmm.
So tell me, where do you go from here? What are your next kind of steps with all of this? Trying to, are you trying to expand the podcast? Are you trying to, what are those? What's that vision for you?
Yeah, my vision is I'm hoping that not only that I record podcasts and post it on YouTube, but but I but I should also collaborate with others and just really make a bond, just create opportunities and just really changing the world, just working with other readers. And to me, I believe that I am considered as a leader because because I always have a vision. I always have a vision of what I'm seeing in my head, of what I see through the future. And and I always try to help people get to their objectives, like I said. And I'm very wise say how I say things. And
Hmm.
yeah, I believe that just being a leader just it's very cool, and you're just not very that you're not limited. So, but yeah, I believe that just just really collaborating and doing the podcast is really going to be beneficial in the long term. I can find people with the same interests as mine, same mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that's how I got in touch with you is, us reaching out and I'm looking for the same thing, just meet more people, collaborate with more
Yeah,
people. I think it's more fun to um, just reach out and man,
yeah,
there's so many different takes and people growing up from just kind of different worlds, even though not really, and seeing the vast differences and where we've all come and all that good stuff. I mean, I think as long as we continue to give back to the world, if we keep giving back, then everything will
right.
work out.
Yeah,
You have a vision that you see, and the underlying principle in that is to give back, right? And so
uh-huh,
if you keep going after that, you keep chasing that. If we all kind of chase that and kept at it, I mean, it's just insane what could come from it. It's insane where the world would be if we just didn't give up on that. And I think a big part of being a leader is taking those up with you. And so
right.
that's
Yeah,
real special.
yeah, yeah, that's yeah, it's just being just being the leader, you have what refers to as freedom of choice. You could choose what you want to do, and you're just not limited to what you're working on. You could be working with any profession. You could just work with anyone with a back with any background, and you could be working with people that are introverted or extroverted. So you could just you 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 really could do so much, really so much as a leader. I I've been going through meetings, and there was these people that I have met. They whatever I tell them about my knowledge and how wise I am, they believe that I am wealthy and that I am pure gold. And it just it just shows that how I pronounce something is it shows who I am, what people can see me.
Mm.
So it's very cool. And if I keep spreading the word out, I believe that I can really make a big impact to my audience, just everyone around the world. If I just keep putting it out, I believe
Yeah. Well, you got to put it out there.
yeah,
You got that's a law of attraction and everything else. I mean, you got to put it out there. And I think, there's yeah, wisdom and wealth don't always go hand in hand, but
mm,
I think that envisioning that future and going after it and actually taking those actual or actionable steps, that's what gets you where you're trying to go. And
yeah,
so,
yeah,
you know, I I think, yeah, that's probably something that more people should dwell on is, wisdom doesn't always include wealth and vice versa. And
right,
you know, and everyone's journey is kind of different, and
right,
so it's whatever they're trying to get at. It may take more time. It if you do it the right way, that's all that matters, right? Whether it takes you 10, 15, 20
mm,
years, 40 years, who cares? As long as you did it the way that you wanted to do it,
right,
then and there you go. We live in a time where everyone wants it now. They
right,
think it's that easy to get it done now. They just have to make a couple of calls and everything will work. And it never works that way, ever. I mean,
right,
even with the best network, I mean, it takes time and there's a process to it. And I think, I Gary Vee says it all the time, but I do enjoy that process, right? The process is what is where all the fun is.
right,
That's where that's where the magic happens, not the end state. The end state is that's just a byproduct of actions that you took in the middle. You just got to keep taking those actions, but then also
right,
uh, enjoy the process because that's the part that's fun. That's the part that all the funny stories are always in the middle of it, never like at the very end. you know, and
right,
so
right.
yeah, but yeah, that's my 2 cents on it, whether it's right or wrong.
Yeah, you should always, you really shouldn't really take things for granted. And a lot of people a lot of people just really just like whatever they're doing right now is, oh, this is not going to be a good memory. I don't want to put this into history or something. And it just, when you, when time flies, you're just going to look up and say, "Ah, man, I wish I could just go back, go back in my time." And a lot of people these days are very spoiled. We have Amazon, eBay, just you could just always just get anything, and you're always waiting for that package to be delivered. And my my mom my mom is my mom is delivering packages, and she's working with FedEx, and every time she delivers a package, everybody is all pissed. And it just shows how petty people can just be when they just when they're wanting to get their packets, and they're very spoiled. They it seems that they have never grown up or something, but I don't know. It's very strange. It could just be the area that I'm living in, because Washington State is pretty much a blue state. So maybe a lot of liberals. But when it's a red state, there's what is that called? Congregatives people? I can't remember, but just people that vote for Republicans. But I guess it
Mhm.
just depends on the person, depends on the person's mindset. But
Yeah, I think it's just individual by individual, right? I mean,
right,
yeah, I don't know. I think yeah, I think it's just the individual. I don't think there's a region or state or city that's more now than another. I think it's just the individual. As far as spoiled, I mean, spoiled comes from experiences. Spoiledness comes from a history of how you've done things in the past and what you expect to happen in the future because of that past.
right,
And you know, it's hit or miss, right? We're all confined to the people we know, the area we know, in the sense of that's what we draw those experiences on, and how we feel, is a reflection
right,
of the world or the country or the state or whatever. And yeah, I don't find that to always be the case. I think it's just more individual in the sense of, some people just expect it now, demand it now, and they're gonna have to figure out how to change that themselves. You know, Nothing you or I do is gonna change that.
right,
Um, but and they have to want to change if that's even a thing for them, and uh, but yeah, I think it's easy to point at the advancements in technology and society and just say that people are spoiled now. It's tough to compare. The time is different, right? If
right,
this is
right,
1700s, then yeah. But I mean, a lot's changed since then. A lot has changed. Everyone is spoiled if you're looking at it like that. But it's an interesting question, that's for sure, because it's
right,
either I just think it's individually, it's an individual problem to overcome, or to just keep being you. If that's
right,
you and that is what it
right,
is, and
right.
you're not going to change, then you know
Yeah,
it is what it is.
yeah. There
Mhm.
is a saying, and the saying is, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And I think that's very true because when I was working at a job. I think it was in February or March, but pretty much I was I was working from last year and this year. I worked in Safeway and Papa Murphy's. So I would be working with these people, and they just they really think different, and they they really didn't relate to me. No interest. They weren't very interested in talking to me, having a conversation, even in the days of work. And maybe they'll say like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And we just do the close-ended question, just saying, just giving the results, saying good or not so good, all right. You know, it's, we just did that every time, and we just move along. But
Yeah,
yeah, I believe I believe that you need to be with the people that have the same interests as you, and you always have to got to be in those group of people, or just that kind of person that really believes in you and just wants to see you succeed, and not just a person that's non-existent, just a person that thinks of you that you're non-existent, you're close to nobody. So
yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I would say, you know, I look for, the people in my circle. They are supportive in the sense of they'll have your back. They'll, cheer for you. They want you to win, just like, I want them to win. We'll do what we can to get each other to win, that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
Having different views is I mean, that's the icing on the cake, right? Like that's something special. If you can have different views and still want each other to win, man, you've got a great circle because,
Right.
you know, I don't see certain things a certain way. They may. I don't even have to comprehend it, honestly. But if I
Right.
can be there and go back and forth and wrap my head around it, then I mean that's where the growth is, right? If you just surround
Right.
yourself with only people who believe what you believe and all that, I mean having the support system is great, but
Right.
you don't see that other side. Um,
Right.
and I think sometimes that's what causes a lot of problems is we deliberately stay away from the other side because it's not worth hearing out or we think they're dumb or illogical or whatever you want to call it. But
Right.
the reality is our beliefs come from our own circles and systems and what we grew up with. And,
Right.
if we're lucky, we can develop those, maybe lose some, gain some,
Right.
based on our own experience, but never,
Yeah.
never just stick yourself in a corner with the same people
Right.
with beliefs, everything else, because I mean that's how